why did you not allow your kid to have more butter on his bread? And he's like, to be honest with you, I don't remember that particular scene with the butter. Like, I thought about that for a long time. I'm like, okay, like these guys have money. They can buy the table, the butter jar, they can buy the restaurant, they can buy the plaza we're sitting in. What's the problem? All right, folks, so let's get into another one. Real flex is stability. Remember that. So let's get into the video a little bit and what I'm going to talk about here, right? So how can you actually move and get forward in this situation, right? Because we know what's going on. Everybody is kind of quiet about it, but everybody seems to be breathing very, very heavy, right? Nobody's saying what's going on in their household, but you see them avoiding parties, you see them not showing up there or not showing up here. Why? Because lack of funds. And when you're constantly burning yourself out, what happens? I mean, you just get demotivated. I mean, it is hard to get after, 3 part-time jobs and a full-time job in a day to get home and be ambitious. Be like, okay, so I know what to do next. All right. So I'll touch on that a little bit. What I think, what most people can do, like it's something that you actually can do. I'll tell you a story what I went through with some of the people that I knew, and I was kind of in shock, to be honest with you. And then obviously this is just my personal view. It's not an advice. You do whatever you want, all right? Like there's really no right or wrong answers. But I know one thing. If you're not making enough money, you're not the only one. Mostly everybody is short, right? Like doesn't matter what category you are. 50,000, 500,000, 5 million, 50 million, everyone is short because projects get more expensive, they get bigger, better, more complex, and all of that stuff. But let's say an ordinary family, what happens in their life, especially in the, like, let's say last decade or half a decade, they bought into the peak or the top of the market and all that stuff. Now they're struggling. They're trying to see what to do. Well, just to wait for another decade or two to realize or to somehow beat that rat race is unlikely, right? Because the chances are you'll burn out. It's not a smart thing to do. Probably things are going to fall apart along the way. And I'm sorry to say that, but that's just the reality. I mean, if two people, a couple are partners holding a household and they don't see each other ever because they're at work all the time, well, what happens? I mean, like you just start to grow away from one another, right? And then if you have kids that are involved in the whole equation, at that point, you're just riding for a future, for their future. In most cases, parents or couples are looking at it like that. But the kids are at school all the time. They don't even see the parents. They like most of them, they don't even get along with their parents. They don't even know their parents, right? So what do you think? You're gonna show up in 20 years from today and you're gonna say, hey, look, I'm your dad or I'm your mom, and I worked hard for 20 years and we can finally rent our basement and we can be cash flow positive. They don't care. Like 20 years went by, it's done. You know what I mean? So the one thing that I've seen it works the best is taking a couple of steps backwards. And what I mean by that, try to downsize and try to rent immediately, right? So sell it, rent a house. The smaller, the better, the cheaper. If you have to go outside, the city if you're able to, and if it makes sense. If it makes sense in terms of the logistics to work and stuff like that, do it right away. So two things will happen. One, you will sleep at night. And two, you will be able to see that positive cash flow right away, right? Instead of trying to make, you know, $10,000, $15,000 a month, struggling, working 3 jobs just to make it happen, barely make it happen, you can get away with half of that and still save. All right? Then try to get rid of everything you don't need. I'm sure you have 1,000 things in your basement, in your garage, around the house, in your vehicle, in a car that you don't need. Get rid of it. Sell it. Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace, anywhere. Just sell it. Get rid of it. Cash in, pocket in. That's it. You don't, and don't buy stupid stuff. Don't sell it and then buy 2 more of stupidities. All right, just get rid of it. So what will happen, it will clear out your mental drawer. Okay, let me call it like that, right? So when you open the drawer in the future, everything is there and you can remember where everything is. So it doesn't take a lot of brain power. Instead, opening that drawer and be like, oh my God, I like the mess. Like this is how I live. Well, it's not efficient to live like that, because by the time you find that particular pen or pencil or your driver's license or whatever it is in that drawer, like it could be an hour. You don't have an hour, okay? So just try to organize, sell. You will start to feel much, much, much better. Get rid of the clothing you don't need. Just get rid of it, right? You don't need it. If you didn't wear it for, I don't even know what the rule of thumb is, 6 months or 3 months or a season or something like that, the chances are you will not. And most of us, we know what we wear. Like, it's very simple. So when you start doing that, all of a sudden, your days, once you wake up, look different. You wake up, you walk into if you have a walk-in closet or your wardrobe section there, whatever, in your room, everything is simple, everything is nice, you know what to take, you're comfortable, and all of a sudden you have more time because you don't need the brain capacity and the power and the time to look for a shirt, right? Open the drawer, socks are in there. Very simple. So it does help. Now, let me get into a story, and that was probably 5 to 7 years ago. I will obviously not mention their name or whatever, but it was interesting because they were looking at a property, and they said we want to buy a house, but it needs to be a double car garage and up. I said, okay. So they had a lousy budget, wasn't the best budget in the world, but you know, like we have seen much better properties. In fact, even bigger, better communities, bigger lots with a single car garage. And I asked them, I'm like, okay, so why a double car garage? And they said, well, you know, in my community and in my culture, if you have a double car garage, it symbolizes wealth. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Yeah, like, you know, like the more garages you have, it's a symbol of wealth. And I want to be in the threshold where it's a double car garage and up. So I didn't understand, right? And I thought about it for years, right? Like, I mean, I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. And then I realized by their, you know, Facebook and Instagram and their actions as they were moving on in their life, I'm not judging, I was just observing, right? I looked at it that it had to be a branded wardrobe, it had to be a branded watch, it had to be something branded all the time in their posts. And I'm asking myself, well, are these items fake, right? Because some of these bags were at thousands and thousands of dollars. I don't know. Maybe they're not. Maybe they paid for it. I don't know why they would pay, I don't know, $5,000 for a bag that you can buy it for 40 bucks somewhere else. Okay, but it is what it is. So like that was something that I was like, oh my gosh, like I could not believe that people value what their neighbors, what the community, how they will perceive them, how they will acknowledge them based on their home and vehicle and wardrobe or whatever. I don't know. Well, it's crazy, okay? But then they're broke, right? Because they had to sell that house and it wasn't a fun transaction because they lost money on it, and it was just funny, right? Like it is seriously funny. Like, what are you doing, right? So I have no idea what is happening to them, because even their, blogging or social media kind of died down a little bit. I'm assuming that they had to downgrade, or they had to come to realization that that's not the lifestyle that they can carry forever, and they don't want to post where they're at now. So that could be one of the reasons. Now, why it is important to realize that the actual actionable pay or actionable income, which means you go in and you make that time, you trade time for dollars, fine. But if you're trading too much time and you're never gonna get enough dollars, you're always going to be behind. So start renting, go lean on it, very, very lean on it, and start to maximize on your income and your time, and then go into ventures. If you want to play a little bit with stocks, take or seek professional advice, talk to people, try to make that residual income somehow, right? Try it, but you have to be in a good position in order to do that, right? Now, I was also sitting with friends, and it was just like, it was lunchtime, all right? And it was funny because in that group of people on the table, we had, very rich people, highly educated, middle class, whatever, average or below middle class. I'm not gonna say broke or whatever, but I'll say good enough, but mentally they were, I don't care kind of thing, right? And it was us and family and my kids and bunch of kids on the table and whatnot. And I was observing, right? And my wife, my spouse, like, she's a mother, she's a very good mother, she helped the kids, two kids, and everything's fine, they're quiet, they're eating and all of that stuff. And I see that the middle class, not very rich, but middle class, okay, okay jobs or whatever. I see that the kids are loud, and they're taking the butter and they're putting excessive butter on bread. And at first I didn't think nothing of it. Sorry. First I didn't think nothing of it, but I was like, okay. And then I looked at the rich dad and rich mom, and they were telling their kids, put a little bit less butter, right? Just go lean on it. You don't need that much, whatever. And I remember that that kid saying, well, there's an entire, you know, cup or jar of butter, like why not, right? And they're like, no, 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 this is enough, this is what you need, and you'll be fine, and it'll taste good, and all of that stuff. So, you know, like, we went off topic, and like I thought about that for a long time. I'm like, okay, like, these guys have money, they can buy the table, the butter jar, they can buy the restaurant, they can buy the plaza we're sitting in. What's the problem? Just let the kids be free, don't you think? Let the kids be free. Very simple. And after a few years of me processing that and thinking, I called the guy and I say, hey, do you remember back in the day? I say, yes. Why? Like, well, what's the problem? And I asked him straight up, why did you not allow your kid to have more butter on his bread? And he's like, to be honest with you, I don't remember that particular scene with the butter. I'm like, okay, well, is it some kind of health reasons or something like that, or what is it? And he explained it very, very simply. He said, look, I have to teach my kids at a young age, doesn't matter what we have, but we need to have a level of awareness. They have to know how much butter goes on a piece of bread, how much money needs to be invested to see a particular return. So I'm shaping their brain today, because when it gets to other things in life, managing portfolios of $10 or $10 million or $100 million maybe, right? They will know how to measure that. And everything is in measurement, in accuracy, and in detail. Wow. I was stunned, because on a piece of bread and butter, they're shaping their kids, not because they have excessive amounts of money. It's besides the point. It's just learning the right measure at the right time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please click like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.